I'm back again, people. I am back again. Transfer window's going crazy. News is coming in left, right, and center. So it's only right that I'm coming back to you. And you can sense the energy is a bit different. But anyway, welcome back to the channel, people. You know the face, you know the name. Aaron here, back again with another video. Shout out to everyone tuning in, showing love and support. We're closing in on 16K, so if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Please go ahead and help the algorithm of this channel and help this channel and this video be pushed to the right people. But listen, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title. Bruno Fernandes is staying and Jadon Sancho is returning. Now let's start with the latter. Jadon Sancho coming back to Manchester United. Now, I'd be lying if I said that I'm happy about it, because Jadon Sancho is somebody I rate. Do you know what I mean? He's somebody that I rate, someone that I like. I like his playing style. I like the way he plays football. But it's just not worked out at Man United. Let's just be completely honest. Like I said, people that know me, people that know the type of football that I love, know that I love Jadon Sancho. But unless Amorim sees a future for him at the club, I can't see this working out. You know, I can't see this working out. People talk about the whole freedom stuff. Yes, it can be a factor. And ironically, I did tweet about it and I said, listen, let's just move him on and give him the freedom that he needs or that he wants. But the reality is, if he was to come back to the club and actually play for the club again, first game, he might get boos. But as soon as he bangs one in, listen, the fans are going to cheer. You know, fans are fickle like that. You know, they did the same with Xerxes, booed him when he got subbed off against Newcastle. And then when he started playing well, scoring goals, people forgot. You know, now Xerxes getting booed seems like a distant history or a distant story, you know, way back in the past. This looks like it happened 5 years ago now, you know. So if he was to come back for real and play for the club again, all it takes is one goal for people to forget. So I'm not worried about that. But I'm just worried about the fact that it's just not worked out. And I think it's okay to accept and admit that it probably won't work out for Jadon Sancho at Man United. Unless, like I said, Amorim sits down with him, has a talk maybe, has a chat, convinces him to stay. Because I talk about Jadon Sancho not working out for Man United or with Man United or at Man United, I should say. But equally, he doesn't want to stay. I think he's made it abundantly clear with the whole freedom stuff, the shenanigans on social media. Everything indicates towards the fact that Jadon Sancho doesn't want to stay at the club. And people have been wheeling up the pictures of him screaming and shouting when they qualified for Champions League and they beat Nottingham Forest, They beat Nottingham Forest away 1-0 and he was celebrating. Obviously, he won a trophy with them. He was celebrating and everything was going towards the fact, or was indicating at least, that he was going to stay. And, you know, we were rejoicing, already thinking about the 25 mil that we were going to receive from Chelsea. But instead, we're not receiving 25. We're only receiving 5. Yeah, reality hits hard, man. Reality hits hard. But that's the nature of the transfer business. Sometimes you just have to take an L, you know, and we have to admit that the transfer of Jadon Sancho at the club just has not worked out. And I know that the reason why he left the club in the first place was because of a beef between him and the previous manager. We don't know how things could work out between him and Amorim. We don't know. It might take a pre-season for Amorim to check him out and see, okay, this guy can fit in my system and whatnot. But if he does stay, I would say use him as a squad player. Don't start him, because obviously we have our starters already. Mbeumo, Cunha, they're going to be our guaranteed starters. I can't see Jadon Sancho being a starter for Man United again, unless he absolutely shells it, which I doubt. I think the best for him would just be to go back to Germany, go back to Dortmund, make it a Dortmund 3.0 type of thing, Maybe try and work it out there. I can see him go to Spain, where the football is a tad slower and there's a bit more emphasis on technique and silkiness and stuff like that. And like I said, Germany. So it's either one of them. I don't think he's got a future in England. I just don't think that English football is suited to him, purely because he's a different type of footballer. And you've got to remember, majority of his career, he did play in Germany, and that's the type of football that he's used to. So I wouldn't try and force it, in terms of keep him in at the club. I wouldn't try and force it. I really wouldn't, because it's only going to end up bad, But like I said, we never know. Amorim could have a chat with him and change his mind. We never know. But anyway, that's the first bad news. The second bad news is that Bruno Fernandes is staying at Man United. Now, hear me out. The reason why I'm saying bad news, it's not because I want him to be kicked out of the club. No. But I did think that there was a genuine opportunity to upgrade on our midfield. There was a genuine opportunity to upgrade. Get 80 to 100 million in. That's a nice sum of money to rebuild Man United's midfield. Now, we've got to rely on Bruno Fernandes. Not even rely, but we've got to try and shoehorn him into this 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 system yet again, knowing already that he lacks tactical discipline. And when I say he lacks tactical discipline, you guys know what I'm talking about. For those who've been following me for a long time, I'm talking about the fact that he's everywhere and nowhere at the same time, which completely unbalances the structure of the team. Yes, the previous manager might have asked him to be the furthest one forward, to be pressing higher than a striker. But clearly, Amorim's telling him, listen, don't do that. He's done it maybe once or twice, but like I said, the fact that he wants to be any and everywhere at the same time is going to be a hindrance. And when you have players like Cunha and Bumo, who clearly are going to be starting in those number 10 roles, I can't see Bruno Fernandes playing in any of those positions. I can't see him playing as a striker. So that can only mean one thing. He's going to be playing in that double pivot in one of the sixes. So he's either going to be the 6 holding, which he's not good at, or he's going to be the 8 moving a bit more forward. Either way, in either of those positions, he's going to have to be a bit more disciplined. He's going to have to tone it down a little bit. He's going to have to maybe quit the Hollywood passes, maybe quit being erratic, which is something he's not very good at, because his nature is just to be erratic with passes, with not always taking care of the ball properly. When he's being pressed, he just boots it away out of fear, out of pressure, I don't know, nervousness, I don't know, or panic, I don't know. But it's not looking good. To complement Bruno Fernandes in that midfield role, in that system, you're going to have to pair him up with an absolute dog. Kobbie Mainoo could be that person, but, he's still young. He still has to develop into that player. So this means instead of getting 2 midfielders now, we're going to have to build with him, and we're going to have to pair Bruno up with someone who's an absolute dog. And don't talk to me about Ugarte. No, I'm talking about someone who can do the dirty work, but who's also good on the ball, because we need footballers in that midfield. So we need a mixture of the two. We need a breed of midfielder that's good on the ball, but also physical, because Bruno, when it comes to the physical work in midfield, he can get bullied. I can't see him bossing midfield physically, that is, over 38 games in the Premier League, because you're going to come up against teams that are absolutely going to give you a nightmare. And Bruno Fernandes alone in that midfield without anybody pairing him up, yeah, that's going to be nightmares. So we're going to have to dip into the market and try and see if we can find a midfielder that's robust enough to be paired up with Bruno Fernandes, so that we can give him at least that extra bit of license to go forward and, try and make things happen. The one thing he's going to have to, anyway, he's going to have to stop doing is, like I said, be everywhere and anywhere at the same time, or nowhere at the same time, because you're now going to be walking into the path of, or you're going to be in the way of a Cunha, of Mbeumo, and they're going to look at you like, bro, this is not your position. I'm meant to be here, not you. So he's going to have to tone it down even more now. Because now we actually have more match winners in our team. It doesn't always have to be him. Or it's not going to have to always be him. So if he can understand that and tone it down and be disciplined, I think there's something that can be done there. But like I said, I thought that was a genuine opportunity to build our midfield again, because now, please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think his contract runs until, was it 2027 or 28? He's going to be way over 30 when he leaves, you know? And I honestly think we've seen the best of Bruno Fernandes already. I don't think there's a level above what we've seen in the past 5.5 years. I don't think that. I don't think there is. It's not like next season, all of a sudden, his level's going to spike again. No, I think we've already seen the best of Bruno Fernandes. And what his best is putting up numbers, but not necessarily making the team better. Because all of these numbers, they're great. Don't get me wrong. They're amazing. But do they actually improve the team? This is the same issue with Ronaldo that we had. Ronaldo came back to the club, amazing numbers, scoring massive goals. But in the end, does that actually make the team better? Because in the end, all we did, the team worked their socks off. Ronaldo scored, but everybody's just talking about Ronaldo's goals. But nobody wants to talk about the team actually improving as a unit. And then we go and lose embarrassing games. And then people are surprised. I don't want to be a team that just relies on one person to do everything. I don't want a savior, which is a good thing, because now we actually, like I said, have multiple match winners. We've got Ahmad, we've got Cunha, we've got Mbeumo. Mbeumo and Cunha alone bring so much GA to the club with what they've done last season. And you guys know me, I'm not the biggest fan of GA. But at this point, we need good footballers and good footballers who are productive in terms of numbers. So yeah, man, bit gutted because, yeah, like I said, this was a good opportunity to rebuild. So now we're going to have to find alternatives. Ineos, Jim Ratcliffe, scouting department, Omar Barada, Wilcox, over to you guys. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, subscribe. It's road to 20K. And I'll see you guys, well, I was going to say soon. It might be in an hour, because we never know with the transfer window. More news might be dropping. Boom, another bomb. And then I'm here, back on this chair, talking to you guys. But anyway, like, share, comment, subscribe, people. And I'm out. Peace.